Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones. We're into the new year, and that means it is the heart of Big Ten basketball season. Purdue's off to a 3-0 start, got restarted in Big Ten play with an 89-73 win over Wisconsin on Saturday night, where Braden Smith made history, and Purdue turned in another complete performance here as Purdue is off to its best start in Big Ten play in the last 8 years. We'll talk about it all here on the show today. Look ahead to Big Ten play, some of Purdue's biggest competition. Look at where Purdue has some advantages in the Big Ten race. We'll close with a quick thought on the football transfer portal, as that is open, and boy is it active. If you don't already, be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond, talking all things portal, talking all things Purdue basketball over there. Come join the conversation. You can send messages, send questions for the show. Do that there on Twitter, or you can email the show, boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts as well. Here every week. From now all the way through the end of basketball season and beyond, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. But Purdue gets Big Ten play restarted with a 89-73 win over Wisconsin, a game where Purdue got off to a bit of a slow start. Wisconsin, I don't want to say sucker punched Purdue necessarily, but Wisconsin had some early success on offense, but at the end of the first half, Purdue was able to take a 7-point lead into the break, and then that thing got out of hand quick in the second half. It was a game where, John Blackwell picked up that second foul for Wisconsin, and at that point, I just don't know that Wisconsin has the depth. Wisconsin has some good players. Nick Boyd is a nice player, does some good things for them, but I don't know that there's a ton of depth there. I don't know that that's a team that has a ton of upside in the conference. Could it flirt with the middle of the Big Ten? Absolutely. Do I think it has much upside on top of that? Probably not. It's not that great. And defensively, you've seen Wisconsin just really struggle in some games this year in uncharacteristic ways. It gives up 98 to BYU. 90 to Nebraska, 89 to Purdue. That's not exactly your typical Wisconsin. Even 83 to Providence is not what we came to expect for a long time from Wisconsin's program, but it's a really good win for Purdue. These are the wins that you have to go win a Big Ten title. I've always said the Big Ten title isn't won when you play what this year will be the Purdue-Michigan game. It may come down to that, but generally, it comes down to who avoids losing in Madison on a Saturday night, who avoids going up to Evanston and tripping up in Welsh Ryan, who manages to win 4 out of 5 in the toughest stretch, things like that. Typically, that's what the Big Ten comes down to. And Purdue gets off to a really good start with 2 road wins and obviously just dominating Minnesota at home, because that's not a very good Minnesota team. But the story of this game wasn't even Purdue winning. It was Braden Smith breaking the Big Ten all-time assist record. Another incredible accomplishment for Braden Smith, one that's just continues a great story. It's an awesome accomplishment for an awesome player. It is another really cool story that it's the second time in 3 years where Purdue's had a superstar who had the under-recruited label, who had the slept-on label, whatever term you want to use. Braden Smith was a lowly regarded recruit out of Westfield, Indiana. He's really small. He's listed at 6 foot. He's not 6 foot. He's really small. He's really abnormal, but he's just a gamer. He's just a tremendous, tremendous basketball player. He has a feel for the game that you don't see. This isn't normal. It's fascinating to look at Braden Smith do this, where on Saturday he has 12 assists, I think. 12 assists, and Purdue never had guys do that before Braden Smith. I mean, in my lifetime, I really go back in terms of what I've seen to the start of the Matt Painter years, and Purdue's never had anyone close to this. I mean, I think Lewis Jackson had 10 assists in a game once. Braden Smith's averaging just under 10. It's unbelievable. The way he has just blossomed into an absolute superstar. It was evident very early on that he'd be really good, that he was going to be a really good player at Purdue. That was evident from the first few weeks of his freshman season. I think it was that game against Marquette, his third or fourth game as a college player, that he took over in the second half, and Purdue won at home against what I think was a decent Marquette team that year. And he's just never looked back. He's been a tremendous player ever since, and he's going to end up on the Mount Rushmore of Purdue players. I mean, he is right there with Zach Edey. He's right there with Glenn Robinson, with Rick Mount. John Wooden goes back a heck of a long time, but Braden Smith is right there with all of those guys. And you look at what's on the table for career accomplishments for him, likely to be a two-time All-Big Ten, a three-time All-Big Ten first-team guy, a two-time first-team All-American looks pretty likely. Man, if he gets Purdue to another Final Four, if he wins a third Big Ten title at Purdue, boy, that's pretty impressive. That's something that not many guys can match. It's been an awesome situation to watch. He really is. We're not that far removed from the narrative being that Purdue couldn't develop guards. I don't need to go back to the Ronnie Johnson, C.J. Walker, too much sauce to be a Purdue point guard comment, but there was a time where that was the perception, but you've now had Carson Edwards, you've had Jaden Ivey, now you've had Braden Smith. That is completely dead. That is completely gone. Purdue can develop guards just as well as it can develop big men. You see it with Braden Smith. Just, again, someone with none of the measurables you'd look for aside from wingspan, and he's just put it all together to be an awesome player. This might just be the start for him. He needs somewhere between 7 and 9 assists per game for the rest of the year to break the all-time NCAA record held by Bobby Hurley. That's going to come down to how long Purdue plays. More than likely, if he gets on a real heater in the regular season, it probably won't. He can certainly do it in the Big Ten tournament, early NCAA tournament, but it's going to be close. I think he's going to end up getting it. It's just unbelievable. And it's something that you're probably never going to see again, at least in the next few years. I just don't know. You don't see guys start at one school for 4 years. You don't see guys do that who are this good. It's the very narrow rope you have to walk of someone who is talented enough to break these records, break a Big Ten assist record that, someone like Cassius Winston held, who is the poster child for staying in one place and becoming a program legend there, the way he did at Michigan State, and getting to the Final Four in 2019, beating that Zion Williamson Duke team, having some really good other teams there. He's the poster child for that, as is Braden Smith. In this era, you don't see that combination of guys who aren't going to leave early for the NBA, but are going to stay at one spot for 4 years and put together a career like this. It's a pretty rare instance, and Braden Smith has just been awesome. It's even more impressive when you just factor in how good of a scorer he is, because let's see, what's he at for his career? I don't know if I can find this super quick, but he's someone who could have been a really big scorer at Purdue, I think, if he wasn't such a good passer, if he cared more about it. He's at 1,552 career points, so I mean, he's going to find himself probably not at 2,000, but above 1,800 for his career. That's a really, really good score, a really, really big-time passer. He's going to have his number in the rafters at Mackey Arena, and he's going to go down as an all-time great. It's just really, really cool to see that. This game, I thought in the second half, you just saw Purdue give a supreme effort that Wisconsin wasn't interested in giving. I don't mean that as a huge slight to Wisconsin. Give Wisconsin some credit. It fought back. Purdue got that thing into blowout territory, and Wisconsin could have just laid back and taken it. Instead, Wisconsin cut it to 12 maybe with like 4 minutes to go, and then Fletcher Lawyer hits a big three to bury it because he always does. The image of this game will be the possession early on in the second half where I think Purdue gets 2 or 3 chances on offense, but ultimately it ends up with Trey Kaufman-Renn on the floor beneath the basket, getting a timeout in before he fell out of bounds to keep Purdue the possession. And you just see the reaction from the Purdue bench. That's a play that as Purdue is starting to pull away in the game is just an extra gut punch to Wisconsin, a team that was significantly outmatched, that was not going to win the game, likely. When the better team is the hungrier team, the team that wants it more, that's a huge deal. That's a really dangerous combination because Purdue was the better team the moment it boarded the plane in West Lafayette. Purdue was likely to win the game, but it came out and wanted it more. And that's what you see from great teams. That's what you saw from the Purdue team a couple years ago that made the Final Four run. That's a really good characteristic for this team to have. It reflects so well on Purdue's leadership. You look at it. I mean, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Renn. It's a really unique situation that Purdue has to have 3 guys like that who have been together for as long as they have, who have won so much together, who have accomplished so much personally. The crazy thing to remember about those guys is that I believe they're all going to become 1,500-point scorers. Braden Smith already is. Trey Kaufman-Renn's at 1,296, so he will. And Fletcher Lawyer is right there if he's not already. He is currently at 1,483, so this week he's probably going to get to that mark. Just 3 awesome players that are everything you could ever want as program guys. It's impressive, man. It's really, really impressive. I'm not saying Wisconsin doesn't have leadership. I'm not saying Wisconsin didn't want to win that game, but man, it was a really good Fletcher Lawyer game as well. He has 20 points. He goes out and pulls down 5 rebounds. He has some assists. He defended really well, especially in the team defense stuff. He's never in the wrong spot. And for what he can lack in physical freakiness, he really has the basketball headiness. He's competitive as all get out. A really good game for him. He's having an unbelievable season. He really is. He's been great so far. That's everything you want to see. It is. It's everything you could want to see from him. He's been awesome. And Purdue just as a whole is really, really scoring. You know, right now, Purdue's adjusted offensive efficiency on KenPom is the second highest rating of all time by anybody. That certainly reflects offense is getting better, certainly reflects the value of the three-pointer, but Purdue's ridiculously efficient. It rebounds at a really high level. It isn't turning the basketball over. That's a massive deal. That has been such a death blow for some Purdue teams in recent memory, that the fact that Purdue is really taking care of the basketball right now, it's really, really big. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. Everything about the offense is humming. And when you are able to execute on offense at that level, you're as good of a rebounding team as Purdue has been. And Purdue is doing enough defensively to not get itself beat on that end, with how good the offense is, it's a really, really good formula. Purdue's playing some really good basketball right now. It's had a bad half against Iowa State. Maybe a below average half in the first half there, a terrible half in the second half. But aside from that, I mean, this has looked like everything you could have wanted this Purdue team to be. It is squarely in the mix nationally. It is squarely in the mix in the Big Ten. It's 4th in KenPom. It's 5th in the AP poll. Purdue's been awesome. Purdue's been absolutely awesome so far. It's got to continue that this week. You've got 2 home games, Washington and Penn State. These are both games that Purdue's going to be a double-digit point favorite in, but that's going to be about every game at Mackey Arena. You look at these projections on KenPom, and more games than not that Purdue plays at home, it's going to be a double-digit favorite. That's just where Purdue is. So Purdue's got to take care of business. Washington's just given up 1 million points this year. Indiana scored 90 on it. Not great. Washington lost to Seattle. It lost to Colorado. There are some ugly losses on here. Now it's sitting in the Midwest for a couple of days. It does have some decent weather while it's staying here. It's pretty nice out for January, but I can't imagine that Washington is particularly enthused to play in Mackey Arena. Some decent players, though. The Steinbach kid's really good. Desmond Claude's a nice player. Zoom Diallo's not bad. Quamari Peterson's from Gary. He'll be excited to be back in the state of Indiana, I'm sure. But it's a game Purdue should win, and the same goes for Penn State. Penn State's been frisky at home. It's also given up a lot of points to Indiana. It's given up who else did it give up a bunch of points to? I feel like there was someone, but it played Illinois tough last week at the Palestra. It played Michigan State tough at home, but it's got some ugly performances on there as well. We'll see, but Purdue's rightfully going to be a big favorite in both of these games. All you can do, you just have to keep stacking wins and put yourself in as good of a position as possible for when you play these massive games in Big Ten season. It's 2026. The new year is here. It's another year where, away from the podcast, I get to help Indiana residents with their insurance coverages. As an Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent, I'm here to make sure your insurance program is exactly where you need it to be. From home and auto to life and business insurance, I can do it all. Give me a call at 317-846-5861 or email me at jordan.jones@infarmbureau.com, and let's make sure you and your family are all set for the upcoming year. It does bring the competition in the Big Ten. It's really interesting. It's an interesting conference this year, as it normally is. It goes without saying that Michigan looks phenomenal. Michigan is number 1 in KenPom. It has the second best KenPom rating of all time. It is unbelievable at both ends. It's ridiculously efficient on offense, number 1 in the country in effective field goal percentage. It has the best defense on KenPom, number 1 defensively in effective field goal percentage. It's crazy long with Yaxel Lendenborg and Morez Johnson and Adai Mara. Michigan plays super, super big. It is not something that's been flipped on Michigan yet. I don't know if it can be. Michigan plays at a ridiculously high tempo, super fast, that isn't the worst deal when you're a team like that, because in theory, the more possessions you get, the more that your strength should just overwhelm all of your opponents. But Michigan's been great. It's funny because I watched the Wake Forest game early on in the season. I watched the TCU game early on in the season, and Michigan wasn't overly impressive. And ever since then, it has just thumped everybody it's played. The closest game it's played since then was a 25-point win over Middle Tennessee. Some of these numbers are just absolutely crazy. Michigan very well could win the Big Ten this year. Michigan's the favorite to do so, but the favorite, the quote-unquote best team, doesn't always win it. It happens sometimes. and Michigan has some disadvantages that Purdue doesn't. Michigan State's doing some classic Michigan State stuff. I'm recording this during the Michigan State USC game. I don't know. Let's see how that's going. Michigan State's up 10 in the first half, so it should be okay there. I don't know. I just don't love this Michigan State team. I didn't love last year's Michigan State team either, though, and it just kept on winning, and it won the Big Ten. It did so in really impressive fashion. It was awesome. I mean, it made the Elite Eight. I still wasn't ever sure that I saw it, that I understood it, but sometimes you don't have to understand everything. It just was what it was at a certain point. But no, I mean, Jeremy Fears is playing really well. It's just going to be interesting. It flies in the face of everything we supposedly know about metrics. Like, Michigan State doesn't shoot very many three-pointers. Michigan State turns it over a lot. It doesn't shoot super well from inside the arc, so it doesn't make a ton of threes. It shoots a fine percentage from three, but it doesn't shoot a lot of them. It doesn't take care of the ball super well. It's not great around the rim, but it gets a bunch of offensive rebounds and it defends well. It is what it is, man. Maybe it's super sustainable, maybe it's not, but we'll find out. It is bothersome. There are so many of these Big Ten games the next couple of weeks just aren't that big of games because TV networks are allergic to airing anything besides the NFL until the Super Bowl is over. And then you see the Super Bowl end and we get all of these big Big Ten games. It's fun. Or I guess you get to conference championship weekend when they can't put college football or they can't put NFL on Saturdays anymore. It's kind of a pain because you almost waste some of these early weeks, but it is what it is. You backload these schedules. Nebraska's really good, though. Nebraska just beat Ohio State. It continues to find a way to win. I don't know how good Nebraska actually is, but at some point when you're, 15-0 now, I think? Yeah, 15-0. Hey, it is what it is. Nebraska's really good. It's... You want to talk about a team that shoots a lot of three-pointers. It beat Michigan State on Friday and only made 5 two-pointers in that game. But it takes care of the basketball. It doesn't foul. That's a big deal. Its defense is really good. Really good stuff from the Huskers so far. That's really where the Big Ten race sits for me. Could Illinois go on a run? Sure. Could Iowa, maybe. I think that's where I draw the line, though. I don't buy into any of the West Coast schools. I think the travel problems are real there, and I don't think any of them are that high level anyways. Purdue's got a real shot, though. The schedule really benefits Purdue. When you look at those 4 teams at the top, Purdue, we'll even go 5. We'll go to Illinois there, too. Purdue, Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Illinois. Purdue gets Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois all once, only at home. Purdue gets Nebraska just once on the road. Pinnacle Bank is never an easy place to win. Purdue's proved that over the years, but you get the other 4 best teams you only play once. That's a nice break. Now you do get Iowa twice. I don't think Indiana's awful. You get Indiana twice, and you get Wisconsin twice, which looks like that's going to be a benefit. Purdue's not going to lose at home to Wisconsin on Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Trey Kaufman-Wren's senior night. That's just not going to happen. So Purdue's got a real advantage in the schedule. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't suboptimal spots on it. Coming up, you get your West Coast trip, which you get done early, probably a good thing. But then you come home from that to play Illinois before you go on the road for Indiana. Like, that's a stretch. If you win all 4 of those, that's really, really something. After you play Iowa at home, who's dangerous. You know, I don't think Iowa's great, but Iowa's definitely dangerous. You know, you get Michigan, Indiana, Michigan State, 3 games in a row, all at home in late February. You look at this schedule, and it's really advantageous for Purdue. Right now, If you look at the KenPom projections, he has Michigan winning the Big Ten by 2 games. We'll see how that fluctuates throughout. It is what it is. Purdue has a lot of experience in this conference. That's not nothing. The Big Ten usually scouts really well. Purdue has plenty of experience with that. So it's a really old team, man. You look at it, and you have 4 seniors in your starting lineup. You have C.J. Cox and Jakari Harris, who have done the Big Ten thing before. Jack Benner is playing really well for you. He can really shoot the lights out of it. Daniel Jacobson's getting more comfortable. Omer Meyer's getting more comfortable. Purdue's got a lot going for it. I mean, as we kind of turn the page into the new year, everything's on the table for Purdue, including its ultimate goal of cutting down the nets in Indianapolis. But it starts with the Big Ten. It's always a big deal to win the conference. Anytime you can put something in your rafters, it's a really big deal. And that's going to be Purdue's first goal here this season, even if you have heard Purdue's players downplay it. Trey Kaufman-Renn downplayed that a lot and basically just said, we're here to win a national title. So, interesting to watch, but Purdue's in great shape there. And I did want to at least just touch on the early football portal returns. The portal's been open for 4 days now, opening on January 2nd. Purdue's lost guys to the portal. Purdue has got guys in from the portal. I am going to wait to comment on some of this until the portal is closed here on January 16th. My reasoning why is that I don't think you can paint a good picture of it until you know everyone that Purdue retained from last year's team, and then you can start looking at who Purdue lost versus who Purdue got, weighing that in with who Purdue was able to keep. That's going to give you an idea of the success here. The proof will ultimately be in the pudding. This portal class isn't going to win anything. It's not going to win, the sexiest portal class. On3 is not going to rank at the number 1 portal class. Purdue's not in that spot. I think we know who's going to get that. Don't need to dive into that too much here. But Purdue has to just add as much talent as possible. Purdue has to add as many players who are capable of contributing on next year's team as possible. Guys who are ready to play in the Big Ten. That's been Purdue's biggest thing. That was Purdue's biggest thing last year. It wasn't coaching. It wasn't just the quarterback play. Purdue had too many position groups that were not truly the caliber that you need to compete in the Big Ten. And if Purdue's going to win a Big Ten game next year for the first time in 3 years, that's how it's going to have to do it, is by adding impact pieces in this portal cycle. Some of the lower level guys, you don't know until they get there. We've seen guys from the lower level come to Purdue and have some great success. We've also seen some come and not really find their way on the field. You don't really know. The proof will be in the pudding, but it is encouraging to see Purdue hold on to some guys that it wants to. It is a bit of a blow to see Purdue lose some guys. It's, we never know the truth on everything, but it's certainly going to be a referendum on the attractiveness of playing at Purdue right now after a couple of really bad seasons. And yes, it's going to be a referendum on where Purdue is at from a financial perspective. It's part of the game now. It is. Purdue has committed to the full revenue sharing bit. As to whether there's more than that on the table at Purdue, I don't know. But it's abundantly clear that at a lot of other schools, there is more than just revenue sharing on the table. Is there any type of enforcement for that? I don't know. Would that hold up in court? We'll see. Sounds like the schools don't want to sign that waiver to not sue the College Sports Commission. So there are so many moving parts here with the portal that I do think here in a couple weeks, once it closes, we're going to have a much clearer picture of where Purdue stands and have a little bit better of an idea of where it goes from here as Barry Odom prepares for his second season. But it does look like, unless something changes here in the next 11 days, count on Ryan Brown as Purdue's starter next year. He tweeted that he would be back. He, by all accounts, that was always the case. He was going to be back. And from Purdue, you haven't heard of Purdue's name floated with any transfer portal quarterbacks. That's the market that everyone loves to follow. So if there was something there, we'd probably have heard it. We haven't heard anything. Thus, I think it's probably a safe assumption as of now. But it's the transfer portal, man. The stuff can be fluid. You never know. We'll talk again next week after Purdue has a couple of home games that it should win. We shall see, but that'll set up Purdue's West Coast trip. We'll have no shortage of things to talk about. But send me your questions. Do so on Twitter at BoilersBeyond. Email the show, boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. Send me your Purdue basketball, your Purdue football questions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that episode. Available anywhere you get your podcasts. Until next week, guys, enjoy the games and take care.